One easy way of integrating Reveal without changing your project structure or source code is by using a symbolic breakpoint. To find the instructions for this, we're going to open up Reveal and click on the Can't See Your App link, which will open the Reveal integration guide. Then we can click on Loading the Reveal server via an Xcode breakpoint, and this will give us the instructions that we're going to need to continue. I'll go ahead and quickly review these steps so we can see what's involved. So we're going to open up our project in Xcode, and we need to add a symbolic breakpoint. But before we do that, we need to install some debugger commands from Reveal. So in the Reveal application, we're going to go up to the Help menu and choose Install Debugger Commands. This is going to add some commands of the LLDB init file in our home directory, and I'm going to click Continue and then Done. We only need to do this once per machine, and then we can just use this many times in many projects. So back in Xcode, we can go over to our Breakpoints tab and click this plus button to create a new breakpoint, and we're going to choose symbolic breakpoint. For the symbol, we're going to type UI application main, and this is the first symbol that we're going to encounter when launching the application, and Xcode is just going to break immediately. We don't actually want it to stop, so we're going to check this box here to automatically continue, and then we're going to add our debugger command here, and we're going to type reveal load. Now this is all that is necessary to load this framework for iOS and tvOS targets. One optional step you might consider is to right-click on this breakpoint and move it to the user space, which means that this will be available on all your projects, and you can just toggle it on and off as needed. Now I can go ahead and build and run the application, and we'll be looking in the console area to make sure that the Reveal server has started. And there we can see loading Reveal server. So it has loaded successfully, so I should be able to go over to Reveal, and now we can see our application here and click on it and do our inspection. So doing it this way with a symbolic breakpoint is a great way of using Reveal without making any changes to your project that will show up in source control, so it's completely non-intrusive. And it is also useful when other members of your team don't have Reveal, so they don't need any configuration or anything to get the project building. Now, if you want to build the same thing on device, we will have to make a small change, which will need to get checked into source control. We're going to go over to Xcode, and we're going to go to our project and then pick the target. We're going to go to build phases, and we're going to add a new run script build phase. Going back over to the Reveal integration guide instructions, if we scroll down to where it talks about debugging on device, what we need to do is copy this script, and we're going to add it into that run script build phase. So I'm going to go back over to Xcode. We're going to rename this to integrate Reveal server, and then we're going to paste that in here. And once I have that, I can select a real device from this list here, and I can go ahead and run it on the device. Once it's running on the device, we'll see that the Reveal server has started here in the console log. And I'll go over to Reveal and notice that it discovered two apps this time, one of them via USB and one of them via Wi-Fi. So as long as you're connected to the same Wi-Fi network, it can show up that way. And so you don't always have to be connected to USB, which can be really, really handy in some scenarios. So once I click on that, you can see I get the same behavior here, and this is running on device. Loading a Reveal via an Xcode breakpoint is a great way to use Reveal while requiring minimal changes to your project.